Hi, welcome to the Kate Show. With me today is Mike Barton. How's it going, Mike?
Very well. How about you, Kate?
Good
to see you.
Good to see you, man. So how did you get into acting?
Well, that's a good question. I've been a musician for a long time. You
Right.
knew that, right? You remember the old band Orange Seed Parade?
Yeah.
You've seen the Uncle Moldy show. And I was, I guess about 5 years ago, I was giving somebody a ride home from work, a fellow that I worked with, and we were talking music and stuff in the car. And I told him I'd always been thinking about trying out for a play. I mean, it was a completely different world, and I'd never done it before. And he told me, well, he was connected with Oregon Ridge, Baltimore Actors Theater, Oregon Ridge Dinners Theater, and asked me, he says, well, we're auditioning for Jesus Christ Superstar. I didn't know much about it. I knew, it was a rock opera, and he says it's all singing parts. Why don't you come try out for it? And I figured, well, why not? So I went out for it, and I got offered a part, and I played a Roman guard, and I played one of the apostles.
That's cool.
Kind of a chorus part there, and they did another run of it last year. I played Caiaphas, and that was a good part. Yeah, that was a. I was really dropping down to sing some of those parts. It's a really low, a really low vocal part there.
Oh, okay.
And so I've done that, and I got bit.
By the acting bug.
Got bit by the acting bug, yes, and I've been, I've done a number of productions there, and a couple of different theaters in the area since then too. So, and films, right?
Right.
A few films here and there as well.
Well, what do you like about acting?
I really enjoy it. It seems, when you're in, doing bands and music and things like that, you've got your act. Your act is your act. But this, you get a little bit of variety. You do a play. The play's over in a couple of months. You get to do something new. You get to try something else. You get to try different skills. So I really enjoy. I enjoy doing both. I really do enjoy doing both. I need the outlets,
right?
But I really enjoy. It's just the variety, the creativity, the challenges, the using different skills that you learn. I've really taken to it. I think. Yeah.
That's awesome. So, how is stage acting different than acting for the screen?
Well, you don't get a lot of take twos. I've had a few times up on stage. People are right there. Somebody's blown a line. You've got to cover for it real quick, and I've had a couple of interesting situations.
You want to tell us about one?
Well, a couple of them. There's been times, and everybody has it in stage acting. You go out on stage and you completely draw a blank.
Yeah, right.
And you're like, oh, geez. And it happens from time to time, but luckily everybody knows the script, so they can kind of pull you into a direction where you can recover from it. But there's no worse feeling than that. I mean,
it's pretty,
right? It's wild,
Yeah, it's the pits, man. So what's a role that you've played that you would like to come back and play again?
Last summer, there was, I got involved in a theater in the D.C. area called 4615 Theater, 4615. Okay. That was the address of the theater.
Oh, okay.
That we did at 4615. And the fellow that directed the play was a young guy by the name of Jordan Friend. He's a student at Ithaca. Oh. And the rest of the cast were students at Ithaca College in New York. And they've got a really well-renowned theater program there. My wife and I auditioned, and we both got parts. In one play was called 'Tis Pity She's a Whore, and the other one was Twelfth Night. We did both plays at once. So in other words, on a Friday night we would do one, Saturday we would do both of them.
That's crazy.
And then Sunday we would do both of them. So it was like 5 performances a weekend. And it was Shakespeare, and the other one was a Jacobean play, which was around that same time.
Oh, wow.
And that really pushed me. I mean, I had a lot of lines, and then that's one thing, too, where you can't improvise. If you happen to forget something, you can't just speak like we do now.
Right.
Learning how to speak as they did back then. And,
oh, boy.
I mean, the thing that I really found interesting about working with Jordan, I mean, he's a whiz kid. He knows this stuff inside and out. He understands the times. He understands the storylines so well. And he was really able, to help me pull things out of myself, which I didn't even know I had.
That's cool.
Yeah, that was a real challenge last summer. My wife enjoyed it, too.
Cool.
Being down there. And, I mean, I was just really blown away, but I've been able, just about everywhere I've gone, I've been surrounded with a lot of great talent, a lot of great people. Over at Oregon Ridge Dinner Theater, I've worked with Miss Helen Griegel for many years, Dr. Gene Anderson, Betsy Cameron, some other folks I've worked with there, like Lance Bankert was a co-star or a co-actor in a lot of these plays. It's really been great. Really been great.
That's awesome.
Yep.
What is a role that you haven't played yet that you would love to play? Like, what is the role of your dreams?
The role of my dreams. Well, to get back to your last question, the one role that I really enjoyed was playing Donato in 'Tis Pity.
Oh,
that
okay.
was a big part. That was a big part. That was a real challenge for me.
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things that I watched growing up quite a bit was around Christmas time, they always show Fiddler on the Roof.
Yeah.
And I'd always wanted to play the part of Tevier. I mean, I don't know if I'd ever have an opportunity to do so.
If I were a rich man,
but I've always really loved that part. That's probably my one of my dream roles right there.
That's cool. Maybe you will get a chance to do that.
Yeah, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah, that's awesome. In Ready for Action, you play a meanie. I mean, your character is downright despicable.
Yeah.
But we can see you're like the nicest guy. How did you how did you pull that off?
Well, it was a creepo part. I agree with you there.
Yeah.
I mean, most people don't do those things. They don't
Right.
sit in the woods and wait for a young lady to walk through and pull her into a shed.
Yeah, no.
I don't know. I just really used my imagination. Again, I really enjoy playing all kinds of different parts. I've played villains, I've played good guys, bad guys, singing parts. I really enjoy doing everything that I do.
That's cool. Yeah, because that's quite a stark contrast from the character you played in Rise and Fall.
Yeah,
Which
yeah,
is
exactly.
Kind of like goofy and yeah. So do you like playing silly characters too? Like
I like doing it. I like being serious and silly and scary, and they say I do a good scary sometimes.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, you were scary and Ready for Action. That guy was terrifying.
Yeah.
I didn't even recognize you. That was the thing. Like I pulled up to the set that day and I'm like, who's this guy walking around? And I've known Mike since I was 15, 16.
Something like
and,
that, yeah.
And I'm like, who is that guy? Walking, and he looked all grimy and dirty and stuff. And just your posture was even different and everything. It was amazing. I'm like, is that Mike? That's Mike. Yeah. So you did really good in that, man.
The master of disguise. Huh?
Yeah, right. So how many instruments do you play?
3 decently. I fool around on a lot of other ones. I play guitar, bass, and harmonica. I've been playing bass ever since I was 13. That's really my main instrument. But when it comes to songwriting, I find it a lot easier to play guitar, and especially with singing too.
Right.
So I'm always going to be a bass player, at heart. But I play guitar and stuff just to work on songs, and I do a lot of writing on guitar. It's a lot easier.
That's really cool. Me. So what made you want to get into doing music and all originally?
When I was a kid, I just always enjoyed rock and roll. I was when I was growing up in the '80s, I was a huge fan of Rush, Iron Maiden, Judas Priest.
Yeah.
That was my era of growing up. Those are 3 of my favorite bands. So many great acts of the '70s and '80s, and I got a lot of inspiration from that, and I just knew that's what I wanted to do. So I started playing bass. I got my first one, I think it was Christmas time when I was 13 years old, and I started playing then. Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Played in a lot of bands for many years.
Yeah, you've been in the Uncle Moldy show for a long time now.
Yeah, we've got, this summer, it'll be 11 years.
11 years.
11 years.
What do you like about working with John Trotta?
Can't stand him. He's a great guy. He's been a dear friend for about 35 years now.
Yeah.
And I've known him ever since high school.
Wow.
My friends and I used to like his old band back then. They were called Winter Sun.
Yeah.
Because in the 80s, a lot of the dances, they would play a lot of the more poppier music of the time back then. And Johnny's band was straight rock and roll, and we all thought they were cool, and we would go see them. And then I made friends with Johnny and his brother Bob.
Right.
And we've been around for each other's bands for years. I used to go see and support them quite a bit. They used to support me, and then Johnny and I got together back in 2005 and started the Uncle Moldy show. So, and we've been doing that. We don't do it as often as we used to. We get out, I guess, about 8 or 10 times a year.
Oh, okay.
Mostly doing charity work, fundraisers, that sort of thing, festivals.
What's your favorite song that you've written?
Well, I kind of like the Dirtball Twins. I kind of like the Neighbors.
And that's on the release live at Red House Tavern, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. That we released that back in 2007 or 2008.
Yeah.
And I think we got about 11 songs in there. We have close to 50, I think.
That's awesome.
Yeah, there was a number of other ones that we were thinking of doing some more recording.
Cool.
But finding the time to do it, and finding a place to do it and everything.
Yeah.
The act has to be recorded live, I think.
Yeah,
you can't.
right.
Studio just doesn't work. We tried recording in a studio, and we just put the kibosh on it because you have. In order to get the act, in order to catch, our whatever it is, it has to be done live.
Right.
You really have to do it live, I think. So we may do another live one sometime.
That's cool. Or maybe you'll find a studio that will record you doing it live.
Yeah,
Maybe somebody watching out there now will get in touch with you. And
yeah, maybe so.
Maybe. Thank you so much for being on the Kate Show.
Well, thank you for having me, Kate. It was great to see you again.
Yeah, and we'll have to have you back on sometime.
Absolutely. Thank you, Kate.
Thank you. And thank you for watching. And I want you to tune in and turn on every Tuesday right here on the Kate Show. Please like and subscribe and comment if you want to tell us something, what you think about the show. And we'll see you next time. Bye.